And welcome to the Social Show, your one-stop shop for all things CSI and CSR. My name is Viwe. As the intro so beautifully said, it's a beautiful Friday. I'm so excited for the weekend. I think everybody kind of knows that when the weekend approaches, I get in high spirits. It's that time of the time of the week where I'm just like, let me just rest. But anyway, thank you so much for listening in. And if you want to know a little bit more about what we do, go to www.social-tv.co.za, or you could also email me at press@social-tv to find out a little bit more about what it is how you can contribute to getting your organization on, getting your CSI initiative investigated by me. And I'm very thorough, so you really want to stay clear, but don't stay clear, because we need to know what it is you are doing with your CSI budget. And as per usual, we're going to start off the day with the news. Cape Town has joined the Partnership for Healthy Cities, a global effort to build healthier cities by pursuing a specific policy to reduce non-communicable diseases and injuries by 2018. In his role as World Health Organization Global Ambassador for Non-Communicable Diseases, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg is engaging city leaders to beat NCDs and injuries with smart, proven policies that will advance health and strengthen economies. NCDs, including cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, and injuries caused by road traffic crashes, are often ignored killers of 44 million people globally each year. Over the next 18 months, Cape Town will work with Bloomberg Philanthropies and implementing partners to reduce diabetes. To support efforts, participating cities will receive technical assistance as needed. As part of the partnership, Cape Town has access to a global network of mayors and the WHO Healthy Cities Network, which will improve collaboration and the sharing of good practices and lessons learned. Bloomberg Philanthropies is committing $5 million to the Healthy Cities Partnership efforts, and Cape Town will benefit from this assistance, which will contribute towards the finalization of the City of Cape Town's diabetes prevention program. In other news, Bosch has announced that they will continue to sponsor the dedicated robotics lab at the Dutch School, Pretoria, which makes it possible for the robotics program to be available to a wider circle of learners in the Pretoria area outside the DSP community. Additional schools that will benefit from the 2017 outreach initiative include Pula de Fate Primary School, Gues Matle Primary School, Sikanyisile Primary School, Nantes Primary School, and Noorridge Primary School. The DSP has shown forward thinking by integrating robotics into its curriculum, and in previous years, successful robotics teams presented South Africa at the World Robot Olympiad, both nationally and internationally. Bosch is honored to continue support for the DSP Robotics Lab, which further benefits outreach programs. The recent inclusion of the identified outreach schools is just in time as learners prepare for the 2017 Gauteng Explorer competition, which is scheduled to take place in August 2017. Lastly, in our news, Mylan SA and Meridian Medical Technologies is a Pfizer subsidiary and has issued an urgent recall of their EpiPen injector, which is used by patients who have allergies, saying there was a defect in the device used for anaphylaxis in patients, which is triggered by insect bites or stings and allergic reactions. The EpiPen auto-injector comes in both junior and senior doses and retails at about R1,000 per device. In an emergency situation, it could be deadly for patients to not have properly functioning devices, as they could suffer serious health consequences. Mylan SA, head of strategic projects Tanya Anahisa, said the voluntary recall was a precautionary measure to safeguard patients after incidents. Voluntary call was a precautionary measure to safeguard patients after incidents in the US and Asia, during which 2 devices were reported to be faulty and needles were unable to inject the amount of fluid that was necessary. In both incidents, the company said the contents of the devices were normal, but actual devices were defective, and there was a potential default in the supplier component, hence the recall on the national scale. Enahesa also said that the firm was conducting the recall because South African stock had been part of the same batch in which 2 faculty devices were found abroad, but there has been no incidents or complaints made in SA so far. The company has committed itself to replacing these devices at no additional cost to customers. And that concludes our news for the day.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
Well, today on the show, we were meant to be joined by Alex Mdakane, who is from BDS, and he wanted to speak a little bit about what's happening in Palestinian political prisons and why South Africa is getting involved. But we're just waiting for him to get into the studio. He's a little bit late, but I will give him flack later. But before we get into that interview, hopefully he's on his way. I'm just going to speak a little bit about this Mylan SA and Meridian Medical Technologies issue, that is them recalling the EpiPen injector. And I've just been thinking about how many times the medical industry has disappointed us, and whether or not we are doing enough to combat that. Because when you think about it, this could have killed a few people if the injector pen or the EpiPen had been used in an emergency situation and was unable or was defaulty. It would have been a bit of an issue. So I'm very, very skeptical and scared about what it is that made them recall it and how they could have passed it out into the people without getting their manufacturers involved as to does it work, does it not work. So it really scared me to know that the EpiPen injector, which is used by patients who have allergies, and I said again, it's about 1,000 rand, so it's quite a lot of money that goes into making sure that it works, making sure that people feel like they're being served when they buy it. But anyway, as I said, today is a very special day. I've got a beautiful guest with me, and we're going to be speaking a little bit about the Palestinian political hunger strike that's been happening for the past, I think, five weeks, and basically the involvement of South Africa and how we can get involved even more. So I'd like to welcome our guest, Alex Mdakane from BDS. Very nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, and good morning to the listeners.
Thank you so much. Before we get into everything, can you just tell us a little bit about BDS and what do you do and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, BDS basically stands for Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions, and it is an organization established for the liberation of the people of Palestine who are suffering under the oppression of the Zionist regime of Israel. So basically the apartheid government in Israel, as it has been declared by the United Nations, has been holding over land, taking over land on a daily basis through brute force, through war, etc., of the Palestinian people. So BDS was formed as a response to the call by the people of Palestine for their land to be returned into their hands. And they've even gone as far as to say, we are willing to share a piece of our land. We are willing to coexist with the people of Israel, but they should not do it in the manner in which they are doing it. So we've been lobbying governments, businesses, etc., throughout the world, because BDS is not only has its presence here in South Africa. We've got BDS South Africa and BDS Brazil, America, etc., etc.
Definitely.
So we have different communities, including the Jewish communities, that are forming part of BDS South Africa.
Lovely. And can you tell us a little bit about what is actually happening in the prisons? Give us examples as to how severe the conditions are, and what is it that most the political prisoners are asking for, demanding for right now?
Okay. The political prisoners are on hunger strike. They are on their 33rd day today, as we speak. Basically, they've got a particular set of demands. But before I speak to the demands, I mean, let me just give an example. A man is walking to work in the morning. He gets arrested for trespassing because he walked where the Palestinians are not supposed to walk.
Yeah.
They even have designated areas where the Palestinian people should walk and where the Jewish people should walk. Or he got into a bus, almost a similar situation as apartheid South Africa. He got
Definitely.
into a bus where he was not supposed to be. He was in a particular area at a time of a curfew. They get arrested without being charged.
Wow.
They get detained, etc.,
Wow.
etc., and the conditions are appalling. So the prisoners, amongst other things, they want an end to solitary confinement, an end to administrative detention, which is similar to the detention without trial that happened in South Africa during apartheid years.
Yes.
They want proper medical services.
Yes.
They want regular family visits.
Yes.
I mean, these are simple, basic demands that should be granted to any prisoner for that matter.
Definitely.
You have, I remember a year ago, we had a 12-year-old that was arrested for throwing a stone at a vehicle of the Israeli police. He was arrested, detained. At the age of 14,
Wow.
he was sent to prison for 25 years
Wow.
for throwing a stone. I mean,
It's ridiculous.
What kind of government is that? So, but
Wow.
I must register that we are grateful to the support that we've been getting from South Africans from different walks of life, including the Deputy President of South Africa, Ntate Cyril Ramaphosa, and other ministers, business people, ordinary South Africans that have been showing support in our pickets, etc. We really, really appreciate their support. And this is not a support to BDS, but this is support to the Palestinian cause for their own freedom.
Palestinian prisoners have been engaged in sort of mass strikes since 1968. It's not a new thing for them, but some have been successful and some not so much. Do you think, in your opinion, that efforts will yield positive sort of results eventually?
Well, we are making an impact. It might not be as big as we want it to be, but we are gradually making inroads. I can tell you now, without any fear of contradiction, that FIFA is on Israel's case. They've even cancelled some of Israel's games in certain countries, including inside Israel. And that was through our work here in South Africa. I don't know if it would be safe to mention the name, but he's an activist.
Yes.
And he sits on the FIFA board. We lobbied in that day Tokyo Sekhwale.
Oh, okay.
Where just when he was about to depart South Africa last year to go on one of their general meetings, to really put this issue on the table, and we are happy to report that he did in fact engage his colleagues at FIFA, and as a result, Israel is under serious pressure, to change their rules in as far as Israel is concerned. At the business front, we've made a huge impact as well, so much that some of the businesses operating in South Africa that are supporting the Israeli regime, in the occupied territories of Palestine, have suffered serious financial losses.
Good.
Just to protect them, I'm not going to mention their names.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. But we are making inroads. But I can tell you, in a final analysis, Palestine will be free.
Amen.
It's a question of when.
When.
Yes.
Definitely. And I know in past strikes, they've reduced it to getting them force-fed. How do you think this might be a reality for them? Because a lot of people have died during those nasal force-feeding sort of structures that they put in place to stop the strike.
In fact, it's part of the punishment. They are not helping them. It's part of the punishment.
Yes.
You see, when a body is in a state of hunger, you can only feed it so much quantities, and they must be in a particular form, liquid form in most cases, and not in solid form.
Yes.
That is why when you fast, for people who pray, when you fast, immediately after your fasting, you don't go on solid food. You started off with your liquid food and all those things, but they force feed them, sometimes using what is it, food that is in solid form, etc., etc.,
Oh, my
and
word.
it's part of punishment. And you can imagine what that does to the stomach. It's painful what is
Can't
happening
imagine.
in the occupied territories. It's painful what is happening to the Palestinians. It's even worse when you get arrested for no reason in particular,
Yeah, definitely. You spoke about political elite getting involved, media personalities getting involved. Please tell us about the 24-hour hunger strike that's happening. I know it recently happened, but I know that that's the kind of support and solidarity they've been using as a form of showing their support. They've been going on their own 24 hunger strike. How did this emerge? How did this 24-hour hunger strike start?
Okay, basically, it was out of a recognition that from our own side, we need really to lobby our government leaders, our business leaders, celebrities, well-known personalities in South Africa that have been with us throughout the years. But the response has been overwhelming. I mean, I know that we spoke to the deputy president of the republic,
Yes.
and that is Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yes.
We were just informing him about the inroads, etc., and what is currently happening. And he just said to us, "No, I'm lending my support. I'm also going on a 24-hour hunger strike, and I'm also going to lobby other ministers to go on a 24-hour hunger strike." And that indeed did happen. We had more than 5 ministers that were on a 24-hour hunger strike. But it goes beyond that. We are now lobbying governments to review some of its policies in relation to South Africa's relationship with Israel.
Yes.
Because it is an apartheid
Yes.
state, and it has been declared so by the United Nations. So we want them to review some of the business deals that South Africa has with apartheid Israel. Most of the goods that we are getting from Israel, we can get them in any other country in the world. In fact, we can even manufacture them here in South Africa.
Yes.
So there's no need to maintain trade relations with such a state. We've also laid a complaint with regards to the high presence of the intelligence community of Israel in South Africa,
Yes.
Mossad. In every gathering that we have gone to, at the airports, they are everywhere. And we do not understand the obsession with South Africa. Why do you have such a large presence of a foreign government's intelligence? And it is known. If I know it as an ordinary South African, how much more then does our intelligence community know about their presence and their operations for that matter?
Definitely.
So these are some of the things that we have raised with our government, and we are hoping that there will be a positive response. And so far, we are very thankful. They've been responding very well. The other day, we had Nkosazane Dlamini Zuma as one of our speakers in Rustenburg. We had Nomvula Mokunyane.
Wow.
A host of other ministers, your Trevor Manuels, your Isopahats, etc., etc. Your celebrities, your well-known comedians in the country that have been supporting us. I can't mention them all by name, but we are thankful, and this is the support for the Palestinian cause.
How do we make sure that this is a continuous sort of narrative? Because I do feel like it's going to be really important for like 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then people are going to forget again. How do we make sure that it's something that we speak about and we understand in our normal discourse?
Okay, sometime in March we have what we call an Israeli Apartheid Week.
Yes.
It's just it's a culmination of a series of events that we would have been doing from March the previous year to March the following year. There is one big program where we, enlighten South Africans about the atrocities being committed against the people of Palestine by the Zionist regime of Israel.
Yes.
But what we are doing now is to go into township communities, into rural areas, to have a similar situation. During our own fight for our own liberation in South Africa, Palestinians, villages, townships, and towns, and universities, etc.,
Yes.
in their large numbers, they organize sporting tournaments, they organize poetry workshops, they had film screenings about what is happening in South Africa. So we are doing a similar thing. We are saying South Africans take ownership of the struggle of the people of Palestine in the same way that they took ownership of the struggle of the people of South Africa. That is why then we are going to the township communities and the rural areas. This cannot be something that is done by Alex, Mohammed, or Kwara. We must all take collective ownership of the fight for the liberation of the people of Palestine. This is our way of giving back for the support that they gave us during our own fight for our own liberation in South Africa.
Okay, and from a corporate perspective and from a financial perspective, how much help would you need to make sure that it runs in the way that the programs run? So basically, how do people get involved? How do people get involved in a way that can sort of really make sure that the wheel turns and goes on?
Well, they can visit our website, which is www.bdssa.co.za. We take any form of assistance. For instance, during Israel Apartheid Week, we had a company that donated a billboard. They gave us space.
Lovely.
On next to OR Tambo International Airport.
Wow.
Unfortunately, our billboard was defaced. We reported the matter. It's under investigation until now.
Wow.
We have individuals that give us T-shirts. We have individuals that give us, say for instance, we have a road trip to Durban. They will bring us food. So we take any form of donations, to run the Palestinian cause. We don't limit anyone.
Definitely.
Anything for us would do. A piece of paper for us to print, because we have to print letters of invitation, etc.
Definitely. Everything.
Yeah, anything.
Thank you so much for your time, Alex.
Thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Lovely. Thanks. That was Alex Mdakane from BDS. If you guys want to help out by any kind of investment, please don't forget to go onto the site and see how you can help the struggle and get involved in the hunger strike, get involved in whatever way that you can show your solidarity to the hunger strike and to the Palestinian political prisoners. And that was the show for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back on Monday, bright and early. Do not go anywhere. We have so much more to speak about next week. So take care. Bye.
Live from 27 boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.